Hello again, and welcome back to the Auto Remarketing Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Zulovich, part of the team at Cherokee Media Group and senior editor at AutoFin Journal and Subprime Auto Finance News. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Used Car Week. Yes, that's correct. We're back in person this year. Used Car Week begins November 15th at the Red Rock Resort in Las Vegas. More details to come at usedcarweek.biz. That's usedcarweek.biz. And for this episode of the Auto Remarketing Podcast, pleased to welcome back one of my favorite people from the industry, Senior Vice President of Business Development at Stone Eagle F&I, Joe St. John. Joe, it's great to have you back on the podcast. How are you, sir?
What is up, Nick? It is always a pleasure to be on this podcast. I just can't get over how fun the conversations you and I get to have are. And I hope those of you listening, wherever you are right now, enjoy this because I sure do. So thanks for having me, Nick.
Excellent. And the feeling is mutual, to say the least. Well, before we get into the newest data gathered via Stone Eagle metrics, during a previous conversation before we reconnected for this podcast, you shared a few memories about when you were a manager at a Toyota store in Oklahoma. If you could, just what were the items you used to, I thought it was really a unique anecdote that you shared. What were the items you used to inspire your F&I team, and what were the goals at the time?
Well, I got to say, it's really fun kind of taking that trip down memory lane. And I feel so just blessed and lucky to have had the experience in retail that I had. And so for me, I had a team that I like to this day. There's some of my favorite people, right? People like Chris Mathurin and Mike David and B Smooth. Well, his name's Brian Smith, but we call him B Smooth, right? Like we just had this group, and I look at where we're at as an industry today, and I think back at this is mid 2000s. The store I was at, you look at the numbers everybody's running. The store I was at, when I took over as finance director, and we had 7 producers. That store had never run. It was a Toyota store, mid 2000s. Had never run over $1,000 a car. And so, we're like, it was like this number, like it was this mountain we had to get to. And I can remember one of the things I did was I had this meeting, pulled everybody. I was like, okay, listen, we are running a dime a copy. Anything less than that is failure. We're going to run a dime a copy. And I went into everybody's office and I literally taped dimes on everybody's, like the big gray phones that are on like the desks in an F&I office. So every one of them had a dime taped to it as a constant reminder that was our bar. And so for me, I look at where we're at today and I think about how far we're coming and how the bar just keeps getting raised and raised and raised. And, so much of it's mindset, Nick, right? Like so much of it is this belief system of what is achievable or what is doable. And what we're seeing is that belief system keeps getting stretched and it keeps getting pushed. And you see things that, a few years ago would have been astronomical results that today are normalized results. And I'm just, the world we're in right now from an F&I perspective is just absolutely crazy. And, it's just fun to think about how we're evolving and the things that we're doing and how we continue to get better, right? How we as an industry continue to raise that bar. So for me, it's really exciting to just think about this world, man.
That's very clever. I certainly will not be thinking of a dime the same way if I have one.
Yeah, man.
In my
We're
pocket.
running a dime a copy, Nick. We're running a dime.
So in light of those great recollections, now fast forward to today and the latest data that Stone Eagle has discovered, especially in May. What was the data and how incredible is it?
Dude, I'm telling you what, it is mind-boggling to me. Right? When you look back at 2019, everybody was running about 1,300 a car, right? Like it was started out January of 2019 like 1,237. By the end of the year in December, we were like 1,300, right? It was like 1,343. Then, you think, okay, man, we're running 1,300 as an industry. Then you jump to 2020 and you start out at 1,300 And then, it starts inching up to 1,400 towards like the post-COVID. And then in like September, October, November, December, that last quarter of the year, last third of a year, we were running 1,500 a car, right? So this is the average, across 6,000 stores, 1,500 a car. Like, how do you get better than that, right? Like in my head, I'm thinking like, wow, 1,500 a car. And then 2021 came along. And in May of this year, Stone Eagle dealers averaged $1,697.89 a car. That is $1,700 a throw. Welcome to the new normal. Like, it's mind-blowing to me, right? We are running a PRU in the F&I department right now of $1,700 a car. Dude, if you're running $1,000 a car at the Toyota dealership I was coming out of, you need to find something else to do because it is so hot right now, right? It is unbelievable to me, the level of performance, and I don't know what's going to happen, right? Is it going to keep going up? Is it going to level off here? Like that's our new normal. It's mind blowing to me, and it's not just the PRU, right? Like you look back at 2019 as an industry, we were running 38, 39, 40% vehicle service contract penetration. Are you running that that 40% VSE penetration? And then, 2020, it jumps up, right? It goes to like 41, 42, 42, 43, 42. And now, dude, in May of this year, as an industry, May of 2019, we ran 39% vehicle service contract penetration. May of 2021, we ran 44%. That's an improvement of 5%. Like, it's 5% more customers buying a vehicle service contract. It's mind-blowing to me.
Incredible. Again, the great information is being shared with our special guest here on the Auto Remarketing Podcast, Joe St. John, the Senior Vice President of Business Development at Stone Eagle F&I. And certainly, no doubt there's fist bumps, high fives, whatever the celebration might be at the dealerships stemming from the data that you just shared, but maybe taking a step back and even a more broader view, how positive should it be for both consumers and finance companies too, that vehicle buyers are taking more advantage of these protection programs, as you referenced, especially with retail prices as high as they are nowadays.
Yeah, and I think that I don't want to make any assumptions about causation, right? Like, I think that the market obviously is the hottest market we've ever seen, right? I read auto remarketing all the time, and there's just constant information out there about how the prices of book values. My dad, by the way, is an independent used car dealer. I get Auto Remarketing magazine delivered to my house, right? So yeah. So for me, like, my dad, he thinks it's hilarious. He'll text me, like, literally, my dad will text me pictures. Like, he'll screenshot from his phone when he's bidding out cars, right? So he'll like send me these screenshots where it's like, oh, I'm bidding out this 2018 Wrangler that the sticker from Carfax shows it was 47 grand new, right? And the NADA book on it right now is 53.9, right? Like, that's a car that's 3 years old, that's booked out at a, $5 grand more than what it was selling for brand new on a lot. So the market is undeniably the most insane we've ever seen. And I think that the implications of that is pretty broad from an F&I perspective. Like, there's real implications here. I think that you have these customers that, and it's all, I think a portion of it's driven by the chip shortage. And I think the byproduct of that is you have customers that are now buying pre-owned cars because there is no new car for them. So you have the shift of new car customer who would have traditionally bought a new car over to a used piece of inventory. And because of that, I think you're seeing these higher attachment rates with everything from vehicle service contract to the other programs that are traditionally more associated with a new car. So you're seeing things like, the combo appearance packages, dent and ding and tire and wheel. You're seeing these attachment rates continue to rise on those F&I products, right? If you look at May of 2019, it was 1.28 products per deal. May of 2021, it's 1.49, right? I mean, as an industry across all new and used cars right now, in over 6,000 dealers data, that is 1.5 products per deal. That's 1.5 products averaged per all cars sold. So what you're seeing is these customers that would have, potentially traditionally bought a new car are buying pre-owned. And then when they're buying pre-owned, they're trying to do things to maintain that feeling of buying a new car. So whether that's a vehicle service contract or an appearance package or a like a paint sealant, things like that, you're just seeing these attachment rates go up. And you're seeing the same thing with Gap, right? And I don't want to say that it's because we all experienced a massive unexpected with the pandemic, right? Like I don't want to just attribute it to we all experienced this pandemic, but it's hard to deny that every indicator inside of the F&I office continues to rise, right? Whether it's the service contract penetration, the amount paid for a service contract, the PVR, all of those things, it's all going up.
Indeed, F&I is the focus of this particular episode of the Auto Remarketing Podcast, brought to you by Used Car Week. That's right, we're back in person. Used Car Week begins November 15th at the Red Rock Resort in Las Vegas. More details to come at usedcarweek.biz. Again, that's usedcarweek.biz. Closing moments here with Joe St. John, the Senior Vice President of Business Development at Stone Eagle F&I, and certainly all the data that you just shared is amazing, to say the least. But recollecting back to the top of our conversation, if you were back at that Toyota store or wherever the case may be, would you have to put attach another dime to to those phone headsets, maybe even a quarter? Where do you think we're heading as these F&I metrics keep on the positive trajectory?
You analyze the data of like the top 20% of Stone Eagle dealers, and the top 20% average is running over $2,300 a car year to date. So for me, I think like if you're back there and you're trying to set that, I'd probably be taping quarters, right? We wouldn't be taping dimes. We'd be taping quarters. Everybody we're going, look, 2,500 a throw. We're getting it. We're top performing. And so for me, the industry average at 1,700 means that there are people out there that are just doing phenomenal jobs of convincing consumers to take advantage of programs by helping them to recognize the real value, especially in the marketplace we're in, with the cost of automobiles being the high, the transaction prices being the highest they've ever been. So yeah, I mean, I'm taping quarters on now.
That's Joe St. John, Senior Vice President of Business Development at Stone Eagle F&I. Joe, it's always a pleasure to connect with you. Thank you again for sharing the great Stone Eagle metrics data, and can't wait to be back down the road to see where things land next time.
Well, Nick, as always, it is so much fun being on here, and this is the craziest market we've ever been in. Like, this is, for all of us that are fans of this industry, that are students of this game, what a wild time to be in the middle of. There's going to be case studies and things written about this period of this industry, and what an awesome time to be right in the middle of it.
Well said, Joe. Thank you so much. Well, again, if you've missed any of the episodes of the Auto Remarketing Podcast, simply just go to our website at autoremarketing.com and click on the podcast box to find our library of past episodes. For fellow hosts, Bill Zadites and Joe Overby, as well as our executive producer, Matt Rice, I'm Nick Zulovich. We thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having you again next time on the Auto Remarketing